flew in from Hong Kong, arrived early evening, checked out the taxis, bus more comfortable and cheaper. Takes about an hour into this ancient city. Xi'an is cold at this time of the year. Daytime temperature around 0. When the sun goes down, it drops well below. Ramada Bell Tower Hotel. 5-star comfort for $50 a room. Off-season. We waste no time. Straight out to explore, as usual. Our hotel is next to the ancient bell tower that marks the start of the Muslim quarter, and a Middle Eastern spiced lamb kebab is surely the right way to start the visit. Everybody is wrapped up nice and warm, thermals being a must. You can see right away that I love lamb, and the cumin and chili make it delicious. Xi'an is the capital city of Shanxi province in central China. It is steeped in history. It was not only the cultural and political capital of China for hundreds of years, but 13 dynasties were ruled from here. This is the very place where the Silk Road starts. The Muslim influence still evident as we decide to eat.
In the Muslim quarter, you can see by my breath, it's quite a cold place right now, even though we're inside. And we've just been having some lamb, barbecued lamb, and then some thick noodle. And it's been great to watch the girl doing the noodle here. Is quite amazing, really.
As the steam rises from the boiling water, a Hui girl prepares the thick noodle to put into it. A few spices and chili soy are added. And within a few minutes we have this delicious thick noodle with veggie. Then shopping. Beautiful scarves for 10 yuan. That's $1 US. Hot sweet fruit tea for 2. One of the most fascinating sights is the Hui boys cooking. Giant-sized cast iron woks, industrial power gas burners, and the veggies get cooked in no time. Certainly a good way to keep warm. But I wouldn't like this job in the summer with temperatures of 32 degrees. This is an ancient street, full of history. In ancient times, the camels would be tethered outside the city walls, the traders' tents beside them. Now their descendants still cook Middle Eastern food. Very tasty too. But we're feeling the cold, so it's time to call it a day. Back outside the ancient drum tower, we climb into a local motor tricycle for the 10 yuan ride back to the hotel.
We've been out in the Muslim area, and we've seen all kinds of food, all kinds of things for sale. Great shots, great time.
Past the bell tower again, crossing 4 lanes of traffic, life in hands.
They're all trying to miss us.
The other tricycle races us back to the hotel. Then it's Wi-Fi time, and Betty buys. After breakfast, time to explore again. The hotel is great, but we're ready for a history lesson. Greeted by another sub-zero day, we prepare to set out. 10:14 and the sun trying to break through China's notorious pollution. Our hotel is smack bang in the center of the city, so we walked south toward the south gate, taking the underpass and enjoying the walk. It's about half a mile from our hotel. The city wall has 4 gates and is 2.7 miles from east to west and 1.2 miles from north to south. The present wall was built between 1370 and 1378. The map shows our location, the famous bell tower, and our hotel is about here. Even saw a cat riding a motorcycle. Then got our tickets and entered the gate, though really we were going out of the city, if you see what I mean. The south gate is an imposing brick structure. We enjoyed seeing the old drums and carriages. And Lily even played hopscotch. It was then photo time in the Barbican, with the guards, and then all of us together. There's a drum performance in the Barbican, but we missed it. The wall now stands 40 feet tall and is 40 to 46 feet wide at the top and 50 to 60 feet thick at the bottom, and stretches 8.5 miles all the way around the city, with a deep moat surrounding it. The actual south gate is the most imposing of all the gates and has been carefully restored. The city inside the walls is now like any city in China, but one can imagine that in ancient times it would have been enormous. The walled city of Jerusalem is 0.35 square miles, and the city of London a square mile. This old city was 5.5 square miles. One of the things to do is to ride a bike all the way around the top of the wall. But we settled for walking, checking out the frozen moat and taking in the history. The Xi'an, or Academy Gate, was named for Guangzhou College that used to be located there. This college is the most famous one in China during the Ming and Qing dynasties, that is from 1368 to 1911. Today, the ancient Academy Gate stands at the entrance to a cultural street. This emerged in the early 1990s. The buildings lining the street are built in the style of the Ming and Qing dynasties, and they are actually carefully built replicas of ancient buildings, with the same attention to detail that the originals had. The buildings are covered with hand-carved bricks, carved wooden doors, and tiled roofs. It's like stepping back in time, and one can imagine what a commercial street was like in ancient China. The shops generally don't sell mass-produced tourist souvenirs, but real handicrafts. There are stalls selling traditional Chinese musical instruments, and the sellers actually play the instruments. It's difficult to even make a sound with these Chinese-style flutes, but the music they made was very pleasant. It's a great place to walk around, check out the things on sale, even buy some things. The Academy entrance still there, surely a very interesting place that was well worth the visit. From there we set out to visit another of Xi'an's famous landmarks, the Big Wild Goose Pagoda. This involved taking the metro, opened in 2008. It's a holy place for Buddhists, and we took the opportunity to have a holiday picture with the team. Originally built in 652, it collected Buddhist relics that were taken from India by the hierarch Guanzang, whose statue is still prominent outside. We boarded the 10-yuan train for a ride around the grounds. Legend has it that the pagoda is so named for an answer to prayer that caused a wild goose to fall from the sky to provide food for the monks, who were of the meat-eating order of Buddhists. Apparently they didn't eat it, but rather saw it as a sign that they should cease from eating meat. The place is quite pretty as the sun descends through the smog. There's normally a music fountain here, but the last snows caused it to freeze up. We were frozen up too. We then jumped in a taxi and drove across the city back to the Muslim quarter. We enjoyed the previous night so much we wanted to try the food again, this time not just a snack, and also to do more shopping. After all, being at the start of the Silk Road, Xi'an was the shopping center of the world long before Hong Kong, New York, and Paris. This silver headdress will set you back $2,500 US, but there are cheaper options. then time to eat. The noodles are the flat variety, but the way they make them is the same as in Hong Kong. After watching the chef skillfully make them, we went inside to try them. Certainly a different culinary experience, with noodles and gaozi, Chinese meat-filled dumplings, being the main staple. Afterwards, back in the street, the way cooks are hard at work. The intensity of the flames, the sparks flying off the wok, and the steam rising certainly makes an amazing sight. This cook actually looks cold. Down the street, they're cooking a different meat-filled treat, this time fried. It's certainly popular with the people there. Then more shopping. The shoes they make are very ornate. This contraption is frying walnuts in salt and pepper. Amazing. So we had another very interesting evening in this historic and fascinating place. Next morning we set out to see what Xi'an is now most famous for, the terracotta warriors, buried about 20 miles east of Xi'an over 2,000 years ago. An electric car took us to the site, and we entered the main vault. An awesome experience. A clay army whose job was to guard China's first emperor for eternity, and who died in 210 BC. 230 meters long and 62 meters wide. It contains more than 6,000 figures. The discovery of them happened in 1974. Farmers digging a well came across these life-size statues that had been buried to guard Emperor Qin. It has since been estimated that it took 38 years and 720,000 builders to complete. Most of the figures were fragments when discovered and have been painstakingly reconstructed. The chariots and armor that they wore have disintegrated with time, and the original bright colors have long since faded, though some traces have been found. It was noticed that each soldier is different, and no two have similar features. This has given rise to the hypothesis that they were sculpted from the faces of real soldiers. Horses were found, but the chariots they were pulling have rotted. It was very interesting to walk through these places, and the thought that these relics were over 2,000 years old was very special. There are 3 pits. One of them had some interactive places where visitors could get closer. There were also places that showed the original state in which the warriors were found. Nice shops too, and some interesting audio visuals. Then a shop for the album. From there we went to the famous Huaqing hot springs, where emperors used to bathe, and one of the emperor's concubines, Yuan Guifei, lived. Ranked among the top gardens in China, it's still an interesting and scenic place. In the garden are beautiful calligraphy stones written by famous calligraphers. The temperature of the spring water is 43 degrees centigrade all year round, and the minerals it contains are said to make it therapeutic. There have been hot springs at this location for over 4,000 years, and palaces for over 2,000 years. The water from the 4 springs reaches a discharge level of 112 tons an hour. An interesting visit. And so back home. We had fun. Plenty of walking, a fascinating Muslim quarter, awesome antiquity, interesting food, a relaxing time together, great interaction, a memory.